Good evening, everyone, and welcome to In the Know with CaT Bobino. Today, my extra special guest is me, and I want to talk about and recap the time that I spent at San Diego's Comic Con for 2022. So, some of you might be wondering how this even came about, and it's really interesting how it came about, basically, because it wasn't my idea. I've actually considered going to Comic Con, but it was never my, something I was like really wanted to do and was all gung ho about. But it seemed interesting, right? And they always show the clips of new movies there, so I wanted to see what the hype was. But it wasn't that. It wasn't me, actually. It was my good friend, Dr. Yvonne Cagle. And I've posted about her, talked about her, all this other stuff. But I had the great opportunity to meet her back in March at Chabot Space and Science Center. Since then, I can almost guarantee you we've talked on the phone practically every day. And we've talked about all kinds of things, being Black in STEM, being a Black woman in STEM, her education, my education, like our ideals and what we strive for. So, with that being said, because she is an astronaut, because of her, pedigree, you should say, I could say, her background. I mean, this woman is a retired colonel from the Air Force. She went to medical school while in the Air Force, became a flight surgeon, which means she was going into war zones, doing surgeries on planes, and then became an astronaut. Anyway, I say all that to say she gets invited places, right? And she was invited to be on a panel at Comic Con, and the panel was all about Afrofuturism and the future of medicine and Black people in medicine. And she introduced me to the people putting on the panel. And long story short, I was invited to go with her as our guest and our AKA assistant, which is great, But that meant a free ticket to every day at Comic Con. And I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't stay the entire time. I left Saturday because I was like, oh man, they'll give me a chance to go home, relax for a day before going to work. But I should have stayed until Sunday because I believe Saturday night is when they showed the preview for Black Panther 2, and I missed out. And the crew was, some of the cast was there. I didn't know that. I know next time, if I go to Comic Con, to be way, way more prepared of what the possibilities are. So the panel for Afrofuturism, it was put together by two men. So the first person is Dr. Johnny Brown, who is a professor at San Diego State in Africana Studies. And the other person is Jimmy Diggs, who is a screenwriter and wrote, I think, 9 episodes on Star Trek. And that may not sound a lot of episodes, but most people don't write that many episodes or don't have their ideas picked up that many times. He has written like the most episodes for Star Trek. So they have been doing futurism. I can't remember which panel this was, if this was the 5th year or 6th year. And they've had all kinds of people on there, right? This year it was all about Black people in science and medicine and the future of it. So outside of Dr. Cagle, there was Dr. Shirishi, I hope I'm saying her name right, Jawadine. And she is a professor of African Studies and assistant director of digital humanities. And then Dr. Lauren Quigley, who is a PhD in educational engineering and works at Hack the Hood, which is right here in Oakland. So it was such an amazing opportunity to meet all of them and to connect with all of them. and have this chance to meet amazing people in and out of STEM. So, as you can expect, she flew in Wednesday, I flew in Thursday, and I went straight to Comic-Con. I knew there was going to be a lot of people there. I did not realize how crazy it was. I'm an overthinker, a classic overthinker. And so I had to like hype myself up Thursday morning before getting on that flight and, being like, you don't even know what to expect. So don't expect shit. Right. Go there with an open mind, an open palate, and go with the flow. I got off the flight. I was about to get an Uber. I was trying to find the places for Uber pickup and all that stuff. And then I saw taxis. So I was like, forget it. I'll just take a taxi. Probably the same price anyway. So I took a taxi to the convention center. And here's the key. I don't know who's all going to be listening to this, watching this, but if you've ever been to Dreamforce, which is at Salesforce every year in San Francisco, the amount of people that come in there is crazy. And I will say Comic-Con, the number of people going into Comic-Con is comparable to Dreamforce at Salesforce. The line was the equivalent of the entire convention center, which is humongous, and outside of that, like another block or so. And that's just to get in, right? And because of COVID, you have to do a health test. You have to get a badge or whatever. Not a badge, but like a thing on your wrist to say that you either negative or you've been vaccinated. So that was a simple line. And somehow, some way, I missed Dr. Cagle and Ajani and everybody while getting that badge because they were literally right there. So then I walked from E all the way past Convention Center to get in line, just for me to text them and say, hey, I'm here, I'm in line. And then it's like, oh, come back to E, we're standing right here. So I walked back over there, standing there with them because we were waiting, I think, on one other person. And then we go in, and I know those people were mad watching us go in. But you get a professional badge, apparently, when you're on a panel, which means you get to go in and out every day as much as you want to. And so go up to the panel, and there was a panel before us, or before their panel. And it was cool, and you got to meet all the people there. They got all these volunteers. I guess if you live down there, it's a great thing to volunteer because, sure, you give up a couple of hours making sure people stand in line or follow the rules, but you get to go in for free, I believe. But we go in. It's a great panel. All these people are there, and all these great questions are asked, but like they're on the dot. 1 hour to talk, you're done. In fact, be done in 50 minutes or 55 minutes because you really get like a 5-minute turnaround for you to get the hell off stage and for the next panel to get on stage. So you gotta go. Which is cool, because there was a lot of people wanting to talk to Dr. Cagle, of course, and take pictures, but it was like, nope, we gotta go to the autograph station. So if you can imagine, a huge convention center is connected to the Marriott. And then there's like this space outside and in between the convention center and the Marriott. And right there upstairs is where everyone does autographs. And so it's this huge space. I mean, quite honestly, if you're going to go to Comic-Con, make sure you are comfortable, okay? Comfortable shoes. I mean, I saw people in there with heels on and their outfits, and it was hot. And I'm like, I know, like, you live for this, and I applaud you, but I was hot looking at people, and I was just hot, or my feet hurt looking at people's shoes. Like, yeah. But it was so cool, and then you signed autographs. We had dinner at the Marriott, and then we were both tired, so we went back to the hotel room. And, I got this opportunity to just sit and talk with Dr. Cagle for hours, which was cool. Next day we went to Comic-Con. Like, I think some people go early, get what they want to get done and leave. And then there's people who go later in the afternoon and they stay there all night. So here are some tricks and tricks. Yes, sounds like a massive event. That's an understatement. It is ridiculous how big and how many people are there, especially the first day. The first day is everyone trying to figure out where to go, what to do, trying to get inside, and the lines are crazy. I don't know how it was like as the afternoon went. I got there. The panel was at 10. I think I got there at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and that line was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like if I didn't call and say I was here and we walked in, I might have missed the beginning of the panel because that's how many people were trying to get in. And then so here's tricks and stuff that I've learned. And if you've been to Comic-Con and you have some other tricks or ideas, let me know. Number one, take your own food and beverages. They let you bring it in because if not, the only thing that they have there is super expensive sodas, water, and like snack food, nachos, hot dogs, stuff like that. Ain't worth nothing. It's so many people too. Like if you think you're gonna eat outside in one of the restaurants or whatever, sure, but it's gonna be a line. It's going to be a line, and it's like trying to get food, trying to get to any of that stuff, trying to get into. Don't go like, oh, I'm hungry now. Let me go get in line. The moment you think you're hungry, you need to go get in line. The question is, how big is the building? I went to the McCormick Center in Chicago. It's huge, spans across a couple of streets. So this convention center in San Diego is like all on its one side. It's right on the pier on the water. So it's not blocks. But if I was to assume how many blocks, I would say the convention center takes up 3 normal blocks. And then it's right next to the Marriott, which also houses things for Comic-Con. And that's a whole nother block or two. So that's like how big it is. And that's the stuff that's on the inside. There's experiences and other programs and stuff they do on the outside. So even if you don't have a ticket or a badge to go in to see the panels and all that stuff, there's a lot to do on the outside as well. You can, there's like new movies, then you can virtually seem like you're running down a train to stop a bomb, or, there's stuff in the water you can do. It's crazy. It's a lot. Number 2 is be comfortable. I already said that, but I know people want to be seen in their outfits, but I talked to some of those people in their outfits, and like one lady, and like, let me see if I can share my screen. I think I have her picture up. I think it was on my day 3 at Comic-Con. Oh, let me see. This might be a good thing to share. Let me go. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this later and you want to watch it, then you can go to my YouTube channel and actually watch this. It's CaT Bobino, or In the Know, and check out that. Let me go here. So if you can see this, like that's the building right there, that entire building, and that's just a convention center. That's across the street. There's stuff there. See people walking across the street, and that's not the busy time. And you gotta go across the train track, but that's the whole convention center, not even the Marriott. And that's those little ants are people trying to get in, and that's day 3, mind you. That is not the gobs of people that I saw on day 1. So what is the one thing you wanted to see? Person, talk show, etc. I actually went there with no plan. And that was a problem. You should plan. They have all their panel talks and all that stuff online, and you can make your own itinerary of what you wanted to do. But I had no idea what to expect. That I went there just open-minded. And then I knew I was going to be with Dr. Cagle probably the entire time. And I didn't know what she had on her plate. So I didn't really plan like I should have. And I apparently missed out on some really cool panels by not planning ahead. So you can get a free thing once you get there that has all the information on there, or you can go online and check it out. I went online before I went, and it was so overwhelming with all the panels. There's like at least 6 panels every hour. You know what I mean? So I didn't know what to look for, and I was just like, well, this is a lot. But if I had took the time and actually did that, I would have known when they were doing the Black Panther panel, and I would have stayed my ass there for that, because that seemed like it was cool. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I just really wanted to meet the people putting on the panel so that I can go next year because of the people that I've met, which hopefully will be something I can do and go again next year with a better plan. But anyway, what I was saying earlier, I wanted to find this picture, is like some of the people, they dress up like crazy, this crazy amount. It's like you don't even know what you're going to get. And I would just say be comfortable. So let's see if I can find her photo, because she was dressed up as a mushroom basically, and it was dope. It was super dope. Did I not put the picture up there? Oh no! I'm so mad at myself because I can't find her photo. Okay, I might find it later. But anyway, she was dressed as a mushroom, and she said her friend she does prosthetic makeup. 5 hours. It took her 5 hours to do it. And because of the makeup, the way it looked, she had to have white contacts. She couldn't see and she couldn't hear. So she was walking around beautiful, beautiful, but could not see and could not hear. So, I don't take away from people who want to dress up. And I hopefully will dress up next year, but I'm going to do it in a comfortable outfit. Were they selling anything? Hell yeah. They were selling everything. Best thing I can say about the bottom floor of Comic-Con, which is the entire floor, is don't get mad at me when I say this, a flea market for collectors. It's like going in a flea market with all these rows and rows and rows of people. So like the very beginning part was video game stuff, right? It was all these things with games and stuff like that. Then the next part was all collection things, like the bobbleheads, pins, dice for playing whatever the games that they play. It was pictures, books, all kinds of stuff you can buy. And then the back end was kind of experiences. So this was a way of Nickelodeon, Paramount, NASA, HBO, all of that to show you what's coming next, basically. And so it's a lot. And so that's saying a little. It was so much that they had going on. Let me see if I can share this. And then the costumes and with resources go all out. Yes, they should be costume designers for Marvel or DC. That's the thing. They had costume people there creating makeup and looks on the spot. And I'm pretty sure people were doing that for jobs and opportunities to meet the people who are creating it for businesses. Because the lady who did the mushroom, she worked for a production company, but she was there to talk to other people in the production. And I'm assuming to find a job, which I ain't mad at. You got to do what you got to do. But like this is inside. You see all the people, shirts being sold, and it went all the way down there. And it's just so many people. And like this was the video game experience with Street Fighter. This guy moved. And that's just shirts. And like, I guess it's not going to play here, but this was like a Lego thing. And he moved. I think his name is Bowser, right? Y'all don't fight me if I'm wrong. But he moved. And like, the videos aren't playing on my Instagram right now. It's crazy how much they have going on. They moved. Night, Moon Knight. You can be in the mirror with him. Like this was just a piece of it with Nickelodeon and Netflix and HBO, and Dragon Ball Z was a big thing. I guess they have a movie coming out for Dragon Ball Z. They had this little animatronic baby Yoda. I know that's not his name. And you take pictures of him and chat with him. And there go Black Widow as cosplay. And okay, girl, there goes Storm. She was flying. She was a reporter. So that was cool. But yeah, it's like a flea market almost. And then you stand in line for these things to see what's coming out on Paramount or what's coming out on Nickelodeon and stuff. I stayed in one line, 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so for 30 seconds preview. And I got a pin and a poster that I don't even want. Not trying to badmouth it, but like, what am I going to do with this pin and poster for Star Trek Discovery? But it was cool. It was fun. And then, like, that's the whole bottom floor. The whole upstairs is panels. Like I said, all of that is what you need a badge for. Then you go next door to the Marriott, who also has panels. Then there's, I think, all day movies, all day anime. They show anime all day. Then there was like a pinball room where you can play pinball. There was a game room, board game room, where you can just sit down with your friends and get a board game and play it for as long as you want. There was a something else, anime, movies, and it was something else that you could do all day in the dark, just watching stuff. And then playing video games. There was EA tournaments. There was, yeah, I think all of that was in the Marriott. Then you can go outside, and there was other experiences you could do outside, like video games and running and all that stuff. Plus, I went to the Afrofuturism Lounge. They also had that. And it was a cool little spot outside for people to chat, talk, do whatever they're going to do, all about Comic Con. Right? So it's so much bigger than I ever could explain. And like, people, I think, come there just wanting to buy different things. And like, it's crazy because you can buy all these posters. You get free posters, but you got all these other posters and pictures you can buy. You can buy all these knickknacks. And so there's also places that either sell or give you the plastic sleeve if you're buying like comic books that you really want. There was also artists. Like, I guess a lot of people that are artists and do their own little thing. And so you can buy markers, paintbrushes, easels, all this stuff, books, notebooks that you can color and draw in, all these different things. Like, they had a little bit of things for everybody. I got in trouble because I didn't know what a treble was. And Dr. Cagle was wearing a pin that said, "I love trebles." And I really love Star Trek. And did not know what a treble was. So apparently it was an episode of Star Trek with these little furry things like gremlins. Except for, it wasn't that you couldn't get them wet, but they stayed multiplying, and they took over the ship. And apparently it's like a really renowned episode on the original Star Trek that I didn't know about. And, everybody was clowning me. So I was like, oh, it's cool though. But I know other things. I didn't know that. Organization must have been brutal. Hell yeah. And I think they must depend on volunteers. I mean, that is my guesstimate, because there's a volunteer at every place you can go. Going in, going up or downstairs, where they're doing autographs, where they are doing panels outside the doors. They open the doors for you. Standing in line, there's always somebody who's like, this is the end of the line. So you know where to get into the line at, and you're not cutting people. There's people in between the lines telling you, hey, this ain't the end. This is just in between. Go to the back. You know what I mean? And so they have to heavily depend on the volunteers. Heavily. Like, there is security, but there ain't nothing on the volunteers. And I assume the perk of being a volunteer is you get to go for free, right? So they have nothing short of volunteers. In fact, they even have people walking around with signs like, hey, this is a line of volunteers. So somebody's taking the volunteers to their stations, telling them what they have to do, saying, hey, you're now relieved. Here's a new volunteer. So I guess yes, it's a classic episode. They clowned me. I let it happen. This was a moment. Now I know. I've learned something. So who was doing the most? They are in the deep end when it comes to this stuff. Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna say they were doing the most, but I get it, but I don't get it. It's the people outside dressed up, right? And if you want to take a photo of them or with them, they're gonna charge you $5. It reminds me of going down to Hollywood, like on the Hollywood Strip, and you see everybody dressed as Michael Jackson or Madonna or whatever, and you're like, oh, I want to take a picture with them, and it's like $5, $10. Same thing at Comic Con. People outside walking up and down the convention, looking like a character, and where everybody else is like taking pictures, take pictures, take pictures. They're cool with it as long as you pay them $5. And I saw this one older lady play a guy dressed up as Spock. He was like $5. She was like, cool. I think I got $5. Let me take this picture first, and then I'll look. And then she took the picture, and I don't think she gave him the $5. I think she walked out. But to me, they were the ones doing the most. And then, like I said, I don't want to hate on people doing cosplay, but it was some people dressed up in like some serious heels. And I guess it goes with the outfit, whatever. But you walk around in them heels with throngs of people. It's hella big. You're just everywhere in them heels. So I think they get tired quickly, because those are the ones I saw the most just sitting outside resting, So I get it. Y'all look beautiful. Y'all look amazing as whatever character you dressed up as, but I couldn't do it. I could not do it. It was too much. So those were the ones I think, in my opinion, were doing the most. Also, kids. I'm not like, don't bring your kids to things. Kids need to experience everything we experience. But babies, toddlers, like, I'm so glad I did not take Carter, because they don't know what's happening. It's like I said, so many people. It's overwhelming. I saw so many kids crying or screaming, and parents trying to hold them still and take care of them. And like, one of the people who was on the panel, one of the guys, he has 2 kids that he brings, but he's like, he only brings them for 2 hours, and they're not even toddlers. They're a little bit older, but 2 hours is max. Then you're going home, because it's too much. It's too much for small kids. Older kids I can get, but then on the flip side, I saw the older kids begging for their parents to buy them all kinds of shit. And you will spend a lot of money if you're going there and you're going to buy stuff. And like, for me, I was like, well, I didn't even pack luggage. I had like a backpack with my stuff in it, and I'm not going to take luggage because I don't want to lug hella stuff back. So yeah, I think that, to each their own. If you want to take your kids, you want them to experience it, cool, I get it. But for me, like, I wouldn't take my son until he was at least 7 or 8 and like was watching some of these shows and knew what was happening. You know what I mean? It's not for me. But while we was there, we did go to the Big Kitchen. And so the Big Kitchen is a restaurant, and it's famous because Whoopi Goldberg was working there when she got discovered. She was already doing like these plays and all this other stuff, but when she really started to get big, she was working at the Big Kitchen. And it's a cool spot, like a little hole in the wall breakfast spot, but the food is good. You get a large portion. It's a good place to go. And then if you have time and transportation, you should go to Coronado Beach. I think that's how you say it. We went there to Coronado Beach and walked around. And some people, apparently, if you got like a RV or whatever, a lot of people go and park at the beach and go to Comic-Con. But you're staying the night or doing whatever you're doing at the beach. Now, getting from the beach to Comic-Con, that's a whole different thing. But if you're staying in a hotel, pretty much anywhere in San Diego, there's shuttles that run all day and into the night. I don't think it's all night. I think it ends around 2 in the morning, but it comes like every 15 minutes. So you don't have to worry about driving to downtown or how you're going to get to downtown, Uber or whatever. If you stay in any of those hotels around there, you get on the free shuttle that runs like every 15 minutes, and you can, come and go as you want, basically. Yeah, I can't implore this enough. Like, make sure you have food, snacks, because that was my biggest thing. Anything you buy there is going to be expensive. And then all the restaurants around there is going to be chock full of people, hell of people just doing a lot. And then that's it. I think, whatever you buy, a lot of people with the costumes was bumping into everybody because they had these big ass costumes. And I get it, but also it's so packed. Like, you had to wear a mask. And for the most part, everybody had masks on in the panel discussions and then the big floor where everything is. But of course, people didn't have masks on in the hallways and stuff. But it was good. And then it was cool. Like, you have to buzz yourself in, buzz yourself out. So overall in all, I had a good time at Comic-Con. Glad I didn't pay for it. But hopefully I'll be back next year. I don't know if I'll be invited to be on the panel, but at least I could help out. And once you get one of the professional badges, you good. You only need that one badge to go to every day to anything there, right? And then they even have a professional lounge, which is a room with like coffee, tea, and water or whatever. But it's cool. Like, you can just kind of sit away from everybody else, and you don't know who's going to walk in there because the professional lounge is for anybody who's on panels. And there was so many people on panels, like, it's an opportunity to meet different people. And then being strategic on the panels you go to, I met some really awesome people in STEM. Hopefully, I'll be getting their stories to you in the near future. But it's cool that you get to meet. Sounds like I go again. Yes. Would you bring anyone with you other than your kids? I would bring somebody who's really into Comic-Con or anime with me next year, because I am not. I knew some characters. I didn't know every character, but there's people that I know who's really into anime and all that stuff who would have known all the characters, right? So somebody else who's into that is somebody I would take. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was a lot of STEM panels. A lot, a lot of diversity in STEM. A lot of, not diversity in STEM, a lot of diversity in Comic-Con panels, like diversity in screenwriting, diversity in comic books, all that stuff. And there was a lot of STEM stuff too. So that I took away from that was really cool because there's so many people you get to meet. I have a digital card, right? So I have it as a wristband, but I also have it as this, which is a link card. Oh, you can't really see it, that. But it has its own. Can you see? No. Dang it. Anyway, it has its own QR code. Bam. So instead of bringing like 100 cards, I was saying, people, here's my QR, here, and it has all my information. So that was cool because I didn't have to worry about business cards. The only downfall with digital cards is that everyone's on their phone and everyone's on the internet. So it was super slow for a lot of people to load it. That's the downfall of a digital card. But other than that, it was cool. So cool, so much fun. And the people that we were with, I think, is what made it. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have known what to do, where to go, any of that. But if I go next year, I'm definitely looking at the panels closer, marking off where I want to go, and making sure I go to that. So yeah, that's it. That was my Comic-Con experience. Thank you, Black Math Academy, for all your questions and comments in the chat. If you have any more questions, thoughts, or ideas you want to share with me, you know how to find me. Super easy. CaT Bobino on everything. All social medias, my YouTube. Send me a message. Love to chat with you. And if you know anyone in science, tech, engineering, or math that would like to tell their story on In the Know with CaT Bobino, please send them my way. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. I'll talk to you later.